The scent of cocoa, honey malt, and old brick hung in the air, the way stained glass holds light, gently but insistently, at Wenforth Chocolate Works. The factory, a russet labyrinth on the edge of the River Arno, had turned out velvet smooth bars since 1874. Its brass vats sighed and clattered in friendly conversation, and the tall pathway, laid with creaking maple boards, made visitors feel as if they were walking across history itself. On the first Saturday of December, Wenforth hosted its most beloved tradition, the Golden Tour, a behind-the-scenes ramble for 10 lucky children whose winning tickets were tucked into charity chocolate bars sold to raise money for the County Children's Hospital. Every year, the head chocolatier personally guided the winners, capping the morning with a ceremony in the tiled tasting hall. Evelyn Moss, former history teacher and current volunteer archivist, had been polishing a copper mould in the public gallery when the trouble began. It started, as trouble often does, with a murmur. One child squeaked in excitement, another argued, a parent waved. Evelyn glanced up to see a knot of families clustering around the gilt-edged reception lectern, tickets fluttering like restless butterflies. "Mrs. Moss," called Marion from the admissions desk, voice pitched halfway between confusion and alarm. "We appear to have more than 10 winners." Evelyn tucked her polishing cloth into her apron and hurried over. 12 children stood before the lectern, each brandishing a ticket stamped with the factory's filigreed cocoa pod emblem. 12, not 10. And in a few minutes, the head chocolatier, Maxime Leclerc, was due to appear. Parents swapped nervous smiles, children bounced in sugar-spiked anticipation. Evelyn inspected the tickets. At first glance, they were all perfect. Cream card, raised gold ink, serial number, signature. But 2 of them felt oddly slick, and the embossed seal lacked the microscopic stippling she had learned to recognize during her archival work. "Would you step with me to the conservatory?" she asked the 2 suspect ticket holders, a shy boy named Owen and a freckled girl called Daisy, along with their parents. Calm tones, friendly smile, a cozy mystery needn't start with tears. While Marion soothed the queue, Evelyn pulled a magnifying loupe from her pocket. The loupe came in handy for reading faded ledgers, and now it confirmed her hunch. The seal on both tickets had been printed using modern photopolymer, not the factory's Victorian copper dye. Forged. Just as Evelyn straightened, a new ripple of unrest coursed through the crowd. Harriet Cobble, the factory's marketing manager, strode down the corridor, red heels snapping. Her phone was clamped against one ear, her cinnamon bob hair immaculate despite the winter damp. "He's what?" she barked into the handset. "Find him, now." She ended the call and noticed Evelyn. "Maxime's missing," Harriet hissed, lowering her voice. "He left his apartment above the beanery last night, never reached morning prep, and we've got extra winners." Evelyn glanced at the children, some anxious, most oblivious, and felt an old teacher's resolve settle over her. "We can't cancel the tour," she said. "The little ones have planned for weeks. Let the assistant chocolatiers run a shorter route. I'll keep the extra families occupied in the heritage room while you sort the ticket mix-up." Harriet looked unsure, but a fresh squeal from the doorway, camera crews arriving early, forced her hand. "Fine, keep them happy, Mrs. Moss, and if you see Maxime, tell him his contract is hanging by a thread." The assistant chocolatiers, Camilla Price and Diego Luna, shepherded 10 officially verified children into the factory proper. Evelyn, meanwhile, led Owen and Daisy and their parents up the wrought iron stair to the heritage room, a cozy nook filled with sepia photographs, antique tins, and a chocolate-brown Chesterfield sofa. She brewed cocoa from the demonstration urn and passed around biscuits. The parents were mortified. "We bought bars at the hospital fundraiser booth," Owen's mother protested. "We'd never cheat." "And I bought mine at Greenfell Grocers," Daisy's dad said. Could the tickets have been duplicated at the printers? Possible, Evelyn mused, but unlikely. The die is locked in the archive vault. She patted the boy's shoulder. "Don't worry, we'll get this sorted." As the children dunked biscuits, Evelyn's gaze drifted to the tall, mullioned window. Beyond it, the brickwork courtyard bustled with employees. A light dusting of cocoa powder floated from an upper vent, glittering in the pale sun. Maxime's absence gnawed at her. He was punctual to a fault and proud of the Golden Tour. Evelyn decided on 2 avenues of inquiry: find Maxime and discover who produced the forged tickets. Both tasks, she admitted with a flutter of excitement, fit snugly into her love of puzzles. First, the tickets. She opened the glass cabinet that held Wenforth's original copper die, an ornate disc engraved with swirling leaves and the founder's initials, FJW. The die, as always, rested on velvet, untouched. No sign of tampering. Yet the front gate had logged only 3 after-hours entries in the past week. Harriet, Ned Drury, the maintenance foreman, and Gregory Finch, freelance photographer with a penchant for rummaging. Gatekeeper Wally kept a handwritten book. Evelyn would consult him later. Second, Maxime. His private workshop, the Reverie, occupied a hushed corner of the upper floor, accessible via a narrow landing that overlooked the cooling tables. Evelyn climbed the spiral stair, the factory's hum deepening as machinery churned below. The Reverie smelled of bergamot, vanilla, and the faintest note of orange blossom, Maxime's signature trio. Copper pans hung in precise order, and a marble slab gleamed under skylight. But something felt wrong. On the stool rested Maxime's pristine chef's jacket, embroidered with gold thread, neatly folded. He never left the jacket behind. Beside it lay a half-wrapped bar of his experimental midnight clementine. The chocolate had bloomed along one edge, indicating it had been left at room temperature too long. A slip of paper poked from beneath the bar. Evelyn eased it free. The handwriting was Maxime's, impatient and angular. Meeting 10 p.m., courtyard. Tell no one. No recipient named. Evelyn's pulse quickened. A secret meeting the night before his disappearance. She photographed the note with her phone and tucked it back. Footsteps clacked outside. Harriet Cobble appeared in the doorway, arms folded. "What are you doing up here?" "Looking for clues," Evelyn replied frankly. "Maxime had an appointment last night." She showed the photo. Harriet's eyes narrowed. Probably a romantic rendezvous. The man collects admirers. Still, her gaze lingered on the note longer than necessary. "If you find him, remind him press interviews start at noon, provided we have any reputation left by then." She pivoted away. Evelyn followed, calling after her, "Ms. Cobble, who printed the charity tickets?" Harriet's heels halted. "Gregory Finch designed them. Our in-house print shop ran them." She resumed her march before Evelyn could ask more. Evelyn descended to the Beanery Café. Gregory Finch, wiry and bespectacled, sat at a corner table hunched over his laptop, latte cooling beside him. Piles of unused wrappers and scrap card littered the surface. "Rough morning?" Evelyn asked, sliding into the opposite chair. Gregory pushed hair from his eyes. "You could say that. Harriet's blaming me for the fakes. She thinks I leaked the design files." "Did you?" He bristled. "I guard my work." but someone could have copied the tickets before the copper die proof was digitized. They'd need access to the secure drive, though. Only Harriet, Maxime, and Camilla have that password. The name Camilla tugged at Evelyn's memory. The young assistant chocolatier with wraparound burns from countless sugar pulls, eyes bright as glass marbles. Camilla had been unusually quiet when shepherding the children. "Where might I find her?" Evelyn asked. "Caramel room," Gregory said. "She stress stirs fudge when anxious." Evelyn thanked him and left, but not before noting Gregory's discarded caramel wrapper. Its gold ink had smudged onto his thumb. Could merely handling legitimate tickets cause that? The forged ones had felt slick, as if the varnish hadn't set. The caramel room glimmered with copper cauldrons. Camilla stood on a stool, wooden paddle swirling a viscous amber wave. She startled when Evelyn spoke. "Beg pardon," Evelyn said, "but I'd like a word." Camilla swallowed. "If this is about the tour, I just did what Harriet asked." "And the forged tickets?" The paddle paused mid-whirl. Tears sprang into Camilla's eyes. "I only wanted a few extra children to come. Owen and Daisy couldn't afford bars. Their parents volunteer at the hospital every weekend. They deserved a treat. I printed 2 tickets at home. It was stupid." Evelyn's mind raced. Camilla's confession explained the extras, but the tickets she had forged must be the slick ones: home printer varnish, photopolymer seal. Simple. That accounted for Owen and Daisy. Yet there were 12 children, and only 2 fakes. 10 originals, 2 forgeries, yet the head count was still off by 2. Had she miscounted earlier? She recalled seeing 12 children total, but the official group now touring numbered 10. If 2 were with her, all tallied to 12. Fine. Camilla's actions solved the ticket puzzle. "Camilla," she said gently, "forgery is a felony, even a charitable one. But we'll sort that later. Right now, Maxime is missing." Camilla's lip trembled. "Missing?" "He texted me last night, said he had proof Harriet planned to sell the factory's naming rights to a conglomerate. He told me to keep quiet until he gathered documents. Proof, an after-hours meeting, a disappearance." Evelyn felt the picture sharpening like an old photograph in Developer Solution. "Thank you," she said. "Stay here, keep calm, and tell no one you forged anything. I'll handle Harriet." She crossed the production floor to maintenance. Ned Drury, silver-moustached and stooped, was oiling a gear press. He greeted her with an oily handshake. "Ned, did you see Maxime late last night?" she asked. Ned wiped his brow. "Saw someone in a white coat in the courtyard at 10 or so. Thought it was him. But Harriet came out moments later, dragging a big laundry cart." Laundry carts. Evelyn recalled the wheeled bins that transported sacks of cacao nibs and soiled aprons alike, big enough for a grown man. Her breath hitched. Where was she headed? Toward the old tempering room, storage these days. Evelyn thanked him and hurried along the dim corridor that connected the modern line to the mothballed wing. Dust silenced her steps. At the heavy oak door, she paused to listen. Faint scraping, like someone adjusting chains. She tried the knob, locked. Years of teaching had left Evelyn adept at improvising. She retrieved a long tasting spoon from a display cart, slid it between door and jamb, and jimmied the antique latch. The door creaked inward. Inside, shafts of light cut through high clear-story windows, illuminating a scene both alarming and ridiculous. Maxime Leclerc, dapper even in disarray, sat on an upended cacao sack, wrists bound loosely with red ribbon, festive but ineffective. He looked up, eyes widening. "Madame Moss, quelle surprise! Are you injured?" Only my dignity. He flexed, the ribbon slipped. It was mostly for show. Evelyn untied him fully. Who did this? Maxime dusted his waistcoat. Harriet. She wished me to remain indisposed until her press conference. What press conference? He sighed. At noon she will announce that I've resigned amid scandal, the forged tickets, paving the way for corporate investors who insist on a new product line without my antiquated standards. But she also framed you for the forgeries? Evelyn asked. Exactement. She photographed my jacket beside a desktop printer in her office, along with a stack of blanks. Said she'd leak it. Evelyn relayed Camilla's confession. Maxime shook his head gravely. A misguided kindness, but Harriet saw opportunity. Voices drifted from the corridor, Harriet giving a tour to local journalists right on schedule. Evelyn grinned. Shall we crash her party? Maxime's answering smile was pure 70% dark. Avec plaisir. They marched toward the tasting hall. A cluster of cameras pointed at Harriet, standing beneath a grand arch of cocoa bean garlands. She wore a determined smile, and Maxime's folded jacket over her arm. Ladies and gentlemen, she proclaimed, I regret to announce that I am very much present, Maxime interrupted, stepping into the light. Gasps erupted. Harriet's face blanched to milk chocolate. Evelyn addressed the crowd in her calm teacher's cadence. Before Ms. Cobble continues, allow me to clarify events. 2 forged tickets indeed entered circulation. They were printed at home by Miss Camilla Price, who foolishly but selflessly wished to include 2 deserving children. She has confessed, and the children have enjoyed a safe, educational morning. Cameras whirred. Harriet recovered her voice. This is exactly the sort of sentimental chaos Mr. Leclerc fosters. Evelyn raised a hand. Please let me finish. While Camilla's actions were misguided, Miss Cobble intended to amplify the forgery into scandal by framing Mr. Leclerc. Last night, she lured him to the courtyard, incapacitated him. Inebriated hot cocoa, heavy on nutmeg, Maxime supplied ruefully. Knocked me out. And hid him in storage so she could present the company's investors with a neat solution. Remove the temperamental artisan. Install mass-market recipes. Evelyn stepped aside so Ned Drury could wheel in the laundry cart. Inside lay the empty thermos marked Special Blend, ribbon bindings, and a stack of blank golden ticket stock bearing Harriet's fingerprints, which Wally the gatekeeper had just fetched on Evelyn's request. The evidence was devastating. A police constable in the press entourage took Harriet gently by the elbow. She sputtered, but semantic frosting could not hide the cake beneath. By noon, the crisis had unspooled. Owen and Daisy, still in the heritage room, were awarded honorary junior tasters. Camilla received a stern lecture, yet also a commendation for her generosity. Gregory's name was cleared, and he gleefully documented Harriet being escorted out, a photo sure to feature in the morning edition. That evening, after parents and press departed, Maxime and Evelyn stood on the cobbled river terrace, steam rising from matching mugs of cinnamon cocoa. Lights twinkled along the factory facade, reflecting on black water. I owe you a debt, Maxime said. You saved my reputation, perhaps my life. Evelyn laughed softly. Nonsense. You can repay me by ensuring next year's tickets are impossible to copy. Titanium, perhaps, he teased. Then he grew thoughtful. You know, we could use a chief integrity officer for the event, someone with an eye for detail and a nose for mischief. Evelyn's cheeks warmed in the winter night. Are you offering me a job? Maxime clinked his mug against hers. Oui, madame. And this time no one hides the head chocolatier away. As snow began to drift, Wentforth Chocolate Works hummed on, vats bubbling, tempering wheels glistening, and somewhere deep within its heart the promise of another golden tour, this time safeguarded by a vigilant archivist who believed that every mystery, like every chocolate, deserved the perfect temper.